Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I got me a little slice of home here who actually relocated just like I did. My good friend here, Dr. Greta Anderson. She headed south just like I do, but we have roots in the mitten in Detroit area. And it was fun. Our little pre-conversation that we talked about the old home and how we don't miss the cold and how the changes have happened. And also a golf course that we played. Probably ran across each other there back in the day, but my good friend, Dr. Greta Anderson, is a LPGA Class A golf professional and founder of Dr. Greta Golf, an instructional practice based in Atlanta, Georgia. She's a serial entrepreneur, and Dr. Greta has been successful in building several businesses from startup to successful acquisition. At the heart, though, she's an educator with more than 25 years of experience in educational research. Dr. Greta's mission is to fuse her knowledge of human learning and golf instruction to help as many people of every identity as possible transition from the sidelines to the fairways of golf courses all around the world. And Dr. Greta, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
My favorite color is green.
Green.
It's green.
Anything to do with that grass that you're always...
You know, I just love the freshness of green. It's just the color of hope. In many ways, it's also the fusing of my two other favorite colors, maize and blue.
Oh no, don't even tell me. I'm a Sparty, so it's like you can't tell it.
But I love my Sparties. Some of my best golf friends are Sparties. So yes,
I love it. Yeah. Seriously, welcome to the show. Doc,
thank you so much for having me.
Carving this time here. So let's get into the kind of the nuts and bolts of where you started and how you kind of came into the loving the game of golf and how you're using that to help people level up.
Sure. So I came into the game of golf quite casually. As a kid, I really played a lot of tennis. I played a ton of tennis as a kid. Right. But when you think about it, the swings are about a plane, right? And we won't get technical here, but I really kind of fell in love. I love to swing things. I love to hit balls. I like to make things fly. And so, and long of the short is I enjoyed golf as a kid. I would have enjoyed golf more as a kid if there had been more community for little girls, especially little girls that look like me. And so really fast forward all these decades, that's really one of the reasons, one of the things that I'm really passionate about is that maybe a little guy or a little girl doesn't choose golf, but I don't want her choice of not choosing golf to be because the community wasn't welcoming or that type of thing.
We'll be straight up. The color of your skin. It's cool. Like,
and that's kind of what it was. It was just, it wasn't as welcoming. And, you know, it was fun, but, you know, as a kid, you want things to be fun. You want to feel like, hey, I belong here. And it wasn't quite that. And so I already had community with tennis that, you know, was kind of rainbow coalition, loved it. And that's kind of where I went.
I love it. And so you got your Ph.D. and you said it's psychometrics, correct?
Right. I focused on, so I really focused on adult learning and how we learn. And so, you know, one of the big things there to understand in terms of how it translates into golf, if you will, is that there are two parts of learning for adults in particular. One is kind of what we call integration, academic integration, whatever that is. Maybe it's statistics, maybe it's golf, right? The skills. But then the other part of engagement is social integration. Think about this. You may have been at a college and been a rock star student, but you hated it. You didn't like the campus. You didn't like, you know, the student body. You didn't vibe. So you could have made Dean's List, but you hated it there. It wasn't a fit. So you moved on. Maybe you transferred, maybe you dropped out, stopped out, whatever the case may be. The same thing applies in all other areas, particularly golf. People can strike a ball and do great things, but if you don't, if community, they don't find community, they won't play.
Wow. Community is key.
Community is key.
Yeah. So what is your thoughts on maybe building that broader base to help bring the community together through the game of golf?
Sure. Golf is so much mythology and you know, pretentiousness, let's just be candid, around it. And for many reasons, a lot of people are not interested in attempting to break through a barrier because it looks like a barrier. I mean, golf is resource intensive, right? It's not the most inexpensive activity.
Sure.
So that alone kind of, prevents some people from getting into it. But
Sure.
even for many where that might not be the barrier, a lot of times golf just looks like a hassle. I mean, I'll be very candid. Sometimes I go to work, and right. If I'm at, the back at the facility and I look at the range and there may be 100 people there.
Right.
And I'm the only woman and I'm the only person of color. And I'm going like, now we can do better than this.
Yes, we can. Absolutely.
We can do better than this. So, when we, just like a lot of things, when we see it, we know we can be it.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so, I'm just trying to be that thing that people see a little bit more and know that, you don't have to be perfect. Done is better than perfect.
Yes,
and you can start right now. Like, there's also this thing like, oh, if you didn't start playing golf when you were like in the womb, that you're never going to be a good golfer.
Damn it, Tiger.
Right, exactly. I'm like, there's kind of one or two savants walking around like that, right? Yeah.
Right.
Like I play golf very casually. I mean, like it wasn't like I was going out and practicing 3 times a week or anything like that. So, but I just decided in my 30s that I was going to become a professional.
Wow. In your 30s. That's amazing. Good for you. Well, you're always athletic. If you're watching on YouTube or Vimeo Squad, I mean, she's not only a beautiful woman, she's very well put together, set up, athletic. And we really appreciate that here at Time to Shine today. So what life lessons then are you finding in the game of golf?
Golf is a metaphor for life in so many ways. The big one that I always say, like, you can choose. So we'll just use a hole, right? You can hit the perfect tee shot, right? And so you're set up for success. And you can take that casually. You can take that for granted and go out there in that second shot, right? We all know, we've all been there, done it, right? Slice, hook, duff it, you name it, right? Right. Okay. And so now I'm not in as great a position as I was a few moments ago. And let's just say the hole ends up being a cluster bomb, right? I just fooled right?
Right.
I can choose. I have some choices to make. I can choose to let that hole influence the next hole, the remainder of the front 9, the whole round, or I can say, you know what? It happens, right?
Right.
And move on. Just like in life, you can let your circumstances inform decades of your life, or you can take some valuable lessons from those and keep moving forward. The choice is ours.
I love that. And with my clients that I coach, and I'm blessed to actually coach a PGA professional. Yes. And it's like I tell him that, it's what's happened to you is not what's happening. And that is the game of golf, because I mean, I love your analogy of you can strike one off the tee, right? And you get it out there 260, 270, and you're set up perfectly. That's like having a family that's raised you well, right? And said, bam, you gave all the opportunities. And then you go out on your own and you duff it.
Exactly.
But there's always the rebound or the comeback shot, right? I mean, that you can make. And so there's also about golf is that you can have just the crappiest round, but you hit that one shot that keeps you coming back. What's your mentality about being consistent with improving your game?
Consistency, excellence is determined by you, right? Okay. It's excellence of effort. My junior, my high performance juniors, they probably get sick of me saying that. Excellence of effort. That's all I'm asking for. Because you're not going to, the pursuit of perfection, we know, is a never ending thing, right? That's just human existence for pursuit of excellence, of perfection. But excellence of effort is what we're striving for. Yes. And if we constantly march toward that, your results will rise. But without excellence of effort, then let's not even talk about it.
Right. That's so well put, because I mean, that's my exact, when I get asked on podcasts, that's my exact definition of success. Yes. Is that you're striving for perfection, but on your way to perfection, you're going to get greatness with what you said, excellence of effort. I love that. I love it. So do you coach or teach people one-on-one or in groups?
Both.
Okay. So what is some of your secret sauce then, if you don't mind sharing, Doc, that maybe help them find their blind spots, whether it's about life or the game of golf?
Mm-hmm. The big one is that if we use it in the game of golf, and in many ways it does translate to life.
Sure.
You belong here.
Yes.
You belong here.
Love it.
And, sometimes I've watched people, I've been doing this for a while, and people are always surprised when I begin start my beginner class with an overt welcome. I'm welcoming them to golf.
Okay.
I'm welcoming them because for so many people, they're feeling, particularly women of color, they're feeling like they're here, but I'm not really sure I should be here. I'm watching them walk in the facility. I see them in the parking lot and they're kind of like, should I be here? Even though these are high performing women, C-suite women,
right.
You name the credentials.
Glass ceiling ladies, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But when it comes to golf comes with these vestiges of, of history. We know that. And so that's number one. Number two, I encourage them to understand the process. Like, if you watch golf, the way it's talked about is that you basically sound like you need a Ph.D. in physics to become a good golfer.
Correct.
Right. Look, I help them understand, like, we're going to decode this. I'm going to explain some things to you. And within 17 to 20 minutes, the ball's going to get in the air.
Right. I love that. And you break it down inch by inch. It's a cinch. By the yard, it's hard. Everyone wants to go out there and swing like Happy Gilmore. Exactly. But really, it's broken down, but it's not that complicated either. Like you said, it's just like life. It's about a plane. You stay on that plane, you're going to have success. And I love that you said that. So when you're starting to work with somebody, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Oftentimes by the time someone is on my lesson tee, we may have had some conversations, because I really do welcome people I want them to fall in love with golf during their time with me. That, in my mind, that's the singular mission. So I welcome, whether that's by a text or email or whatever the case may be, whatever the questions they have. But oftentimes those questions are, whether the client may recognize it or not, they're kind of salving some wounds. A lot of people have come and they've had some less than ideal golf experiences, or they're very fearful, whether or not they're, kind of terming it as fearful. They're apprehensive, that's for sure. And so it's my job to allay those fears. Like, yes, to become a good golfer, which you can do, there's going to be a little bit of work involved. The key to take away their fear is that to help them, that I am a good sage. I'm the guide. I'm the person, with the sticks, we're walking up the mountain. I know the route. I've done the route.
Yes. Right.
Because I've learned how to play twice.
Right.
I had a bad injury. And so I had to learn how to play on the other side of the golf ball. So I had to start over.
Really? I did not know that. You were a righty before? Yeah,
I played golf right-handed until I was 30 something.
Wow. Wow. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's like Phil Mickelson stuff right there. He's a natural righty.
Yeah. I love it. It's a painful exercise. I mean, physically, but also, ego-wise and everything. It's hard to go from shooting good numbers to like, I remember my first round as a left-hander.
Right.
141.
It sounded like my round at PGA.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big number. And I remember going like, oh my goodness. However, I worked. I learned. I had to let that go. The past was gone, right? As we talked about with the, the art in the beginning. Had to let that go, set it on the shelf, and start again.
Wow. Sorry, I'm writing some of this down there. So you have some strengths. What do you think your biggest strength is, and how much do you think that you appreciate that strength?
With age comes wisdom, hopefully, and I work hard to try to become a wiser person. One of my great strengths, and it's really not by accident, which is a good thing how everything just comes together. I'm a really good question asker. I'm an interviewer. I'm a researcher. I'm a social scientist.
There you go.
And so I spent years learning how to listen, to ask questions, and to craft questions. And I'm not afraid to ask questions. I ask a lot of questions.
Good for you.
Probably get sick of me asking questions, but that's how I'm most efficient in helping someone get to the solution for which they're looking.
Love that. Love that. Questions is everything. Everything should be, my mentor taught me, everything you do is a question. Absolutely. If you're driving down the street and you want to make a left, something fires into your brain that says, put on your blinker. Exactly. Should I put on the blinker, right? So the more powerful you ask of the questions of yourself, the more that you can attain it. Are you in agreement with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good. How about your weaknesses? What weaknesses do you feel you have?
That I like things to be pretty darn, I won't say perfect, but I've been guilty of paralysis by analysis a couple times.
Sure, me too.
But I'm working on it, and because I recognize that I've really adopted the mantra, done is better than perfect.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hey, sometimes it's not going to be pretty.
Sure.
But I can always go and improve.
Doc, do you like to win, or do you hate losing more than you like winning? Just curious, because you play. I used to, boy, yeah, I could give you the stories that people would tell you about how much I hate losing are. But it's so interesting that you asked that, because in recent years, I'm much less competitive as Greta. I think that all of that has transferred into my students. Right.
Like I am a nervous wreck when I know, my students are playing in the club championship or the mid-am or, whatever. I am like this, like with the phone, like, oh my gosh, like, awaiting. And so
that's passion. I love that.
Yeah, my passion, because I can be an intense person. Yeah. Whatever I'm into. I don't have to.
Wow.
And so I've transferred that. So yeah, but I hate, there's some stories. Whoa.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I wrestled my whole life growing up, and it is like I would hate losing more than I liked winning. And that actually changed as soon as someone told me, keep that dude in the mirror every day, be better than him yesterday. And then it's something I know it went into the subconscious. I'm like you. I'm really into digging in programs. So thank you for sharing that. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get in that DeLorean with Marty.
All right.
Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old doctor, or you weren't a doctor then, the 22-year-old Greta. Yep. What knowledge nuggets, and we call them here Time Today, what kind of knowledge nuggets would you be dropping on her to help her shorten her learning curve, blast through and level up, maybe just a little bit quicker?
Mm-hmm. Don't be so shy.
Wow. Okay. I don't see you being shy.
Well, I reserve. That might be a better word.
Okay.
Like now, I'll just ask a question.
Okay. Yes.
And at 22, Greta would be like, well, everyone here is a little bit older than me and more mature and more experienced. And so maybe it's not quite the time to ask, even though I know that's the dumbest thing they could possibly ever do. But,
sure.
And now I'd be like, okay, perhaps we want to revisit that. I'm going to invite us all to revisit that. Yeah.
Right. And I love that you said that and you're so transparent with it, because it's like, I mentor some high school students. I'm like, I pass on to them what was passed on to me is that, get your asking gear, ask, everything and everything. So Doc, how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date.
Yes.
Life date and death date. How do you want Greta's dash remembered?
I really want my dash to be about having moved learning forward. I believe that, knowledge, data is just a pile of whatever. Transforming that into information is what's powerful. It's what moves the needle, whether it's golf or education or social justice or whatever the case may be. Because when we know more and we understand more, we can do better. It's so much more power in working together than working against each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just said it, like you're transmuting the what you've learned into action. Because like you said, and like I've been paralysis analysis. You know what I'm saying? So I love that you said that. So what keeps Greta up at night?
Really trying to figure out how I can democratize golf education. Right. I know that sounds like so crazy.
I get it, man. Yes. There's so many lessons. There's failure. There's There's everything that's in there. I love it. So if you're working with somebody that you know has got it, okay, you know that the club championship is within their reach, and they go into a quote unquote slump, what do you do with them?
Sometimes, definitely, the first thing, we got to ask some questions, right? It's conversation. You know, I'm not going to sit there and come out with a clipboard and ask questions, but I'm going to begin probing, as we like to call it, right? Because there's a root cause of everything.
Yes. And
sometimes the root is something that, it's a convoluted path that they may not have recognized. Sometimes it just may be too much pressure. Sometimes stepping away can bring us back to what can get us to that championship or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
Sometimes it's apprehension about or belief that I can do it. Like, I mean, it's interesting. I had one of my students she'd had this plan in the back of her mind, and we hadn't been working together a super long time, but this plan was lofty. She was trying to dethrone someone who'd been a champion of a club here for like 13 years. I mean, this was like what she really wanted to do. And so as we began talking, she was like, here's the deal, Doc, really, what I really want to do, that you're not going to believe this. I want to win the championship. And I'm going like, okay, well, we'll win the championship.
Right. Okay.
And so, but it was a process, because we're unpeeling layers. We're watching and playing lessons. We're seeing, okay, this is what's kind of going on. Where, the fissure happens. This is where you kind of combust, because we've all been there, right? Self-sabotage.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, okay, well, I'm trying to break 80 today. And then you get to 18 and you're like, you're on course to shoot, maybe 78. And all of a sudden, you chunk it into the water 40 yards in front of you. We've all seen it. You're going like, are you, what? Like, you can hit that shot in your sleep.
Right.
The belief, it's like this perfect gumbo, right? Of belief, skill set, timing. All of these things have to be right there in the pot, right on time. So that's kind of what I strive for.
I can see you actually also taking them back to the basics when they're in a slump too. Like, you could be like, listen, dude, that this is the plane, you have to stay on this. Let's just get back to it. I love that. And not try to reinvent something when they're in a slump, right? I mean, a lot of people will try to reinvent.
That's the worst time to do it.
Like a baseball swing or something like that, or a golf swing.
Well, and then also people, as I tell people all the time, really, most of us as golfers, we can really kind of only listen to one voice. Now, your decision may be that I'm not that voice.
Right.
I won't, die. But I like to let people know that, because there are tons of good pros and there's some great pros, right?
Sure.
But we're all saying some things a little bit differently. And some things will resonate with you better from one voice versus the other. But, when people come, and it happens to all pros these days, people come on the lesson tee and they telling you about the 5 articles from Golf Digest they read, the 4 from Golf Magazine, and the 27 YouTube videos they watched last night. And then they're going to tell you what they need in the lesson. And I'm thinking like, so I'm not quite sure why you invested in this lesson, but okay.
Got it. I feel
clarity.
Exactly. Keep it simple too. So what is your definition of a life well lived?
My definition of a life well lived is a life where I was helpful to people, my family, others in the community. I helped make someone's life better. As I told one of my students, a young lady, I said, I don't care if you don't play golf another day, another year. I said, but I do hope that some of these life lessons, because some of my students, they call them Dr. Greta-isms, they always have these running jokes. And I said, I don't even care if you don't remember my name. I said, but I do hope somewhere down the road, you go like, I remember that golf teacher I had, that tall lady. You know what? She told me that I was going to do great things, and that
isn't
golf
that
is a
awesome?
Metaphor for life. I said, that's what I want. Like, golf is great, but I want to have an impact, to be a difference maker. So many people continue to make a difference, but I remember so vividly so many of the people that made just a firm imprint on my life, and who spoke so many things into existence. Like there was a woman, Mrs. Thompson, who was very active at the church that I grew up in. And I remember I might have been 5. I was a little girl.
I was just going to tell this story. Go ahead. Yeah, exactly.
She said, what's your name? And I said, Greta. And she said, well, hello, I'm Mrs. Thompson. And she said, Greta. I know one other Greta, and she is such a marvelous woman. She's a doctor. And if you want to be a doctor, you're going to grow up and be one too. I mean, like, she scripted like all these steps in my life when I was like 4.5 years old.
Right.
And I had no idea. But I look back and I'm like,
that's that emotion that buries in the subconscious, and you should start going through the motions to make it happen. It's funny that you say that, because I we have small groups at a church I attended in Novi, Michigan.
Yes. Yeah.
And Oak Point. And so it was like I had, you have the teen gathering, which is it was like 200 teens that would go on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was called 707. And then we have small group breakouts. And it's funny, those guys I had for 4 years, from 2007 to 2010, right? And those guys, I'm still super close. I got them as freshmen to seniors. Yeah. And I'm still super close with them. And they're like, Fergie, life's punched me in the mouth.
Right.
Let's work on this. I'm like, all right, that's cool. It's just, but just knowing that the more you mentor, the more immortal you become, right? So it's like, that's amazing. Awesome. In squad, we're going to take my awesome sauce friend, Dr. Greta Anderson, through our leveling up lightning round, just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Hey, time to shine today, podcast varsity squad. We are back with my awesome sauce friend, Dr. Greta Anderson, golf pro. And Doc, we have a leveling up lightning round. You and I could literally, we probably will one day, talk an hour on each one of these questions.
Sure. Okay.
But you have 5 seconds with no explanation.
Okay.
You ready to level up? They can all be answered quickly.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. What's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Go hard.
Yes. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Flossing.
Love it. Love it. Other than the good book, and you see me and I'm walking, I'm in my doldrums, and you're like, Fergie doesn't look right. What book would you be handing me?
Oh, you took the one that I really, truly would.
I always turn to that.
Yeah. Right. Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, Napoleon. Love it. Love it. Love it. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Happy face.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that too. All right, Doc, you can't lie to me on this one, but if you could stay physically one age for the rest of your life, keep all the knowledge you've garnered and continue to gather wisdom, what age physically would you stay for the rest of your life?
45.
All right, very good. Very good. Any nicknames growing up?
Shorty.
Really? How tall are you, by the way?
6'1".
Wow, we're the same height. We're eye to eye. I love it. Love it. Chess or checkers?
Checkers.
All right, me too. Favorite charity and or organization like to give your time or money to?
Girls Golf.
Beautiful. Last question. You can elaborate on this one, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
70s.
70s. All right, I'm right there with you. 70s and 80s. 70s. So much happened.
I am a huge music, like I love all things music, but part of that is probably because I'm born in the early 70s, and I'm from Detroit.
Right. May I ask your age?
Yeah.
May I ask
I'm
your
51.
age?
I'm 51.
Okay, so you're older than me. Okay, got it. Love it. So, Doc, how can we find you?
You can find me on all the socials at Dr. Greta Golf, and my website, Dr. Greta Golf. You can find me there.
I love it. And let's talk about the golf course confidence blueprint.
Sure. The golf course confidence blueprint comes after years of instruction and interviewing, kind of going back to those asking questions. So lots of players, golfers would get going, they're striking the ball well, and kind of when I talk to them and I'm checking in on them, and even we're going along in their instructional series and that type of thing, I'm asking what's going on the course, even students that that haven't worked with me. Well, sure. I'm not really playing on the course. I come to the range, I'm not confident. I don't really know. I don't want to get out there and look like a fool. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't know scoring. I don't know where to stand. I don't know when to talk, not to talk, all of these things. And I realized that and observed that really most students are not learning these things in their golf instruction journey.
Sure.
They're learning how to hit the ball,
right,
which is great, but they're not learning how to play golf. So they're losing out on the opportunity to use golf as a business skill, a networking tool, just have fun with it because of this uncertainty or fear or whatever the case may be about getting on the course. And particularly for women, when they're not confident about something, it's not happening.
Right. Love it. So that's embedded into the blueprint in your course? Okay.
Yes.
And got it. And how is that rolled out? Is it something that they get time with you, or is it a blueprint where they have instructional videos, or how does that work?
It is a series of 30-day accelerator, chock full of videos, all with me explaining, showing things from the course, just presentations, the whole bit to help you become versed in all of the key elements so that you can feel confident playing golf on any course in the world with players of any level. I would say, like, I know that sounds like a big promise, but the great secret is this, right? We know that to play with anyone, you don't have to be good. I mean, everyone strives to be the best that they can be, but you don't have to be a great golfer to play with anyone. And we know we have a great system, the handicap system, that allows us to play with players of any level.
I love that. I love it. And you also do one-to-ones, right? One-on-ones? Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. And that would probably obviously take place in Georgia area.
Well, it does, but you know, it does take place in here in Metro Atlanta, but also we're in the digital world. And so I'm what's called a connected coach, and we provide instruction regularly to people. Doesn't matter where you live. The beauty of technology now is that we've learned how to really help people through, video swing analysis, coaching, because a lot of things, we may not necessarily need to be swinging a club, but even if we do, it's all available. So yeah, I help people all over the world. Love it.
And real quick, is your business majority women that you coach? Do you coach men?
I coach a lot of men, but it's about 70-30.
Okay, very cool.
Simply because I coach a lot of groups.
Sure.
And more groups women tend to do groups more than the guys.
Okay, very good, very good. Love that, love that. And do me one last favor, Dr. Greta. Could you please leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us and internalize and take action on?
Sure. Well, one thing I always like to say that remember this: golf is perfect for you, but you are perfect for golf.
Wow. It's both ways, right?
That's right.
I love it. And squad, we just got a free masterclass with my good friend, Dr. Greta Anderson, that, she talked a lot about the swing plane and how the swing plane can kind of move into kind of as a metaphor for life, and she's really about building a community that involves all races, creeds, ages. And she wants you to remember if you can see it, you can be it. So a lot of people will say, I'll believe it when I see it. But if you can see it, then you'll be able to believe it because you have it in your mind before. She'll remind us that done is better than perfect. And again, golf is a metaphor for life that, the setup, if you can set yourself up for success and be consistent with it. Remember, if you stripe that first shot and you duff the second one, there's always a comeback. She wants you to remember that excellence is determined by your effort, to always strive maybe for perfection, knowing that it might not be attainable, but that you will reach greatness. She wants you to understand that you belong here. Understand the process, especially with the game of golf. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Like I like to tell my clients, by the yard, it's hard. You're not just going to walk out there, be a Rory or a Tiger. Just be you. Beat that person in the mirror every single day. She wants you to remember to set that past on a shelf. Okay. Don't live in the rearview mirror. I like to say, the past is a great place to learn from, but not a great place to live in certain parts of your past. So pull forward what you can learn and move forward. She wants you to not be so shy and reserved. And like my good friend Leah Woodford told me a long time ago, get your asking here. Ask questions, get it out there. She's going to be remembered as somebody, she's actually planting trees in the shade she'll never sit in because of what she's doing. She's actually such a go-giver. She lastly will say, golf is perfect for you and you are perfect for golf. Golf is not above anybody, no matter what our society says. It's fun. It's a game of failure that it's such a metaphor of life that you can come back from. And Dr. Greta, you level up your health, you level up your wealth. You've earned your varsity squad letter here. Not that you need another accolade in athletics, but thank you so much for coming on. We love your guts so much.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been the bomb. I've enjoyed this.
I love it, Doc. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.